Alright, so we're doing game over today. We're going to start in the control object. So, double click on OBJ control to open it. Go back to the create event. So we've already created 2 global variables. We're just going to add a third. I'm going to click the plus to add a third global variable called game over. And then we're going to change the value to, whoops, I forgot to switch over, didn't I? It's alright. At least I'm still recording. There we go. Now you all can see. So, I double-clicked on OBJ control to get there. Clicked the plus to add a new global variable. Named it game over. We're going to set it to false to begin with. Okay? And that's so that we have a base. We're saying we're checking game over, or we're adding game over, I should say. And we're going to start it out as false, because when it turns true, we want to end the game. Well, actually, we're going to restart the game. We're not going to end the game. Game over. When we use the global variable bricks, we don't need to use the global object with that. It's when we use other bricks that aren't global variable bricks, we have to use the global dot. So, when we say set global variable, it is assumed that game over is a global variable. It's going to be in the global object. So I set game over to false. I'm going to start game over at false. And then we're going to check constantly if game over ever turns to true, which is in the step event. So I'm going to click add event, go to step, and click step to add the step event. Remember, step is what runs 60 times a second to do different things while the game is running. So steps are running constantly. And so if we add code to this, like we're going to add the if variable, we want to check the game over. We want to check the game over variable. And see, this time I do need the global though. Global dot game over. We're going to check the game over variable to see, is it true? I'm going to leave equal. Leave the is as equal. And I'm going to select true. Because if game over is true, then I'm going to restart the game. Okay? I'm going to scroll all the way down. It's a ways down for the game over one. Or the restart one. It's all the way down near the bottom. Keep going. Here we go. Right here. Restart the game. Click and drag that out to the right of the if variable. So there's the arrangement. If global.gameover is equal to true, then we're going to restart the game. Okay? And really, right now, we don't need to do anything else, because that will reinitialize all the variables. It will reset the ball and bat. It'll reset the room completely. Okay? So this will just start everything over as if we just loaded the program again. Score will restart. Lives will restart. All that will restart. So we don't really need to do anything else besides that as far as restarting the game. The only thing we have left to do now is to go to the ball object and then flip that game over flag when the game over conditions are met. So we're going to go to the OBJ ball. We are going to go down to we're going to find the OBJ brick. Right? So presumably if we get to this point down here, we would have broken, like the brick is going to disappear. Okay? And I guess we could also do this in the brick. That might be safer. And we'll see. We'll try it here. If it doesn't work, we'll go ahead and switch it. Because there's another object, the thing is, the only way we can break bricks in this game is by hitting the ball, or getting the ball to hit the bricks. So, at the bottom here, I'm just going to add a set global variable, and we're going to change the name to game over. and we're going to change it to false. That's what we want to do, or I'm sorry, to true. But we want to do that only if, so I'm going to add the if above it. Should have added this first. If, oh, I guess we need, geez, I'm doing this all wrong. Let me start over. Sorry. I'm going to start over, my bad. Okay. We need to get the count of how many bricks are left. See if that's 0. If that's 0, then we need to flip the game over flag. There we go. So I need to go, we're going to scroll down here. I'm going to get this one here. This is called get instance count. We've used this before. This was how we determined game over for the maze game, if all the apples were gone. So I'm going to select obj brick, and I'm going to store it in a variable. I'm going to call it bricks, and then we're going to select temp, because I just want it long enough to check if all the bricks are gone. So I'm just storing this long enough to do that. So we're getting the instance count of the total number of bricks in the room. And then we'll check that number with an if. Bricks, not bix, bricks. And if bricks is equal to 0. So the reason why I can do equal in this case, and why I'm not hedging my bets with less than or equal to, is because you can only have whole instances, right? And you can't have negative instances. Therefore, the lowest number I could be is 0. And it'll hit 0 exactly at some point. So I'm okay with an equal to in this case. And then I'm going to add my set global variable to the right of the if. Game over. Flip it to true. Okay. So, let's maybe drag this down a little bit so we can get them, might be able to get everything in. Maybe zoom out a little bit. Okay. So we get the number of brick instances in the room. If that number is 0, then flip the game over flag. Right? So this should, if we break all the bricks, cause the game to be game over. One way you can help yourself in testing this is to either give yourself a smaller number of bricks to break so that you can test it much easier, or have a cheat code. But for right now, we just want to try and test it either way. I'm not going to test it right now. I'm going to go ahead and do the second game over condition, then we'll go to test it. Okay. So the second game over condition is when I'm out of lives. So when I lose a life, every time that I lose a life, I want to check and see, are my lives at 0? If my lives are at 0, okay. Flip the game over flag again. So that one's in the intersect boundary. And in this case, we do have to make sure we're inside of the if variable for the bottom. Okay? Because when we hit the bottom is when we lose a life. So, and we're actually going to use an else here. And here's why. If my lives are at 0, I don't want to do all the jumping back, have the ball jump back and everything. That's going to happen anyway with the reset of the game. So I'm going to add in, right after this set global variable here, I'm going to add in the if variable, okay, to check and see if the player lives. And in this case, I'm also going to leave it equal to 0. Well, you know what? I'll say less or equal just to hedge my bets. We are in complete control of the lives variable, but that doesn't mean that something's not going to get screwed up. So I'm going to hedge my bets with this one, go less or equal, and then leave the value as 0. Right? It is possible that something weird happens and we go less than 0 lives. So I might as well, because that's possible, I'm going to hedge my bets. It's not that big of a deal. It's a safety thing, or a safety net I have. So then if the player lives is at 0, we're going to add the set global variable there. Same thing we did last time. Set global variable, game over, to true. The difference with this one is I'm going to add an else. We're going to add an else to the if. And then I'm going to take all of the stuff that I did before, the jump to point, the set speed, the assign variable, we're going to attach that to this else. So, to give you an idea, here's what the whole thing looks like. And I can try and maximize this and reduce some of these other things so that we can see more, so I can actually zoom in. Okay, but here's what the whole thing looks like. So this is like the if variable is, this if variable is checking if I hit the bottom of the screen. I lose a life. We already know that. We know that works. Now, once I lose a life, the question is, do I still have lives to play? If I don't have any lives to play, great, game over. Flip the game over, don't do anything else. Otherwise, if I still have lives to play, my lives are greater than 0, then go ahead and do all the stuff we did earlier when we restarted, or when we lost a life. Jump back on the bat, stop, and allow me to press the space bar to start again. Okay? So that's the whole big picture process. Does anybody need that further explained? Okay? Because if not, I'm going to go ahead and test my game and see that it works. Luckily, I can test these back to back now that I have a game restart. At least I should. Let's hope it works. So, I'm going to go ahead and intentionally lose first. That's the easiest. Okay. Well, it looks like my code is working because it's doing the else stuff. Okay, and it restarted completely. Now here's the much tougher one. I got to figure out, or I've got to make sure I try and get this to win. So this might be a little bit. Okay. Or not. Getting it to bounce directly on those. So, I didn't create a cheat code, so I'm getting there though. And you can help yourself out in the testing department if you make your arrangement of blocks a lot smaller. I'm getting there though. Let's see. We're getting closer. Obviously, we're going to need to do something to increase the difficulty here because this is too easy. But for right now, since we're testing game over conditions, it's okay. I'm okay with that. Alright, we're getting closer. Alright, 6 left. 5. There's 4. Okay. Try to get the right angle here. 3, 2. Alright. See if I can get it. Did I get it? Not quite. Oop. Moved too far. Oops. Didn't get in the right spot. Almost there. Okay. No. There's 1. Got 1 left. Here we go. Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay. So, you'll notice that we didn't stop. And I think I know why. So I think I'm going to do what I thought I was going to do, which is I'm going to move the code for stopping the game from the ball to the brick itself. Because what happened is when the instance count became 0, my bricks, or I didn't restart the game. So we're going to try that. So I'm going to cut these. I'm going to go to the to the brick object, and I'm going to paste them in here after the destroy instance. And then I might go back into my room, and for now, take away like half the bricks, or 2/3 of the bricks. Okay. Trying to make this faster. Let's see if this works. Okay. So I just moved my code from the ball to the bricks so that it'll function, hopefully. Well, I still want to play a little bit. Is that okay? Can I play? I also want to make sure that it works when there's a lot of bricks anyway. So, might as well just... Oops. So... the challenge of testing games. Oh, there we go. There's another one. Oh, almost. There's another. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. If I can hit the one brick, it'll be the moment of truth. Apparently I can't. Oh, just missed it. How about now? There we go. That worked. So, moving the code to the brick worked, rather than the ball. So, that concludes this portion.